Good morning, Unity community. I'm your host, Shirley Thompson, and I'm very grateful to be here and to welcome you. Whether you're joining us here in the sanctuary or tuning in on Zoom or YouTube, you're an important part of this community. And we warmly welcome all people, all faiths, and all lifestyles. We begin by acknowledging that we gather on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples who have lived in deep connection with this land since time immemorial. We honor their presence as we come together to learn, grow, and deepen in spirit. Our mission statement here at Unity is very simple but very powerful: to build personal community well-being through universal spiritual teachings and practices. Whether you've been with us for years or today is your first time, we're really glad you're here. And now, as we come fully into this moment, I invite you to join me in our opening invocation. All together now, there is one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. Please rise and join us in singing, "You're Welcome Here."
Come on in and sit right down, 'cause you're welcome here. Come on in and sit right down, 'cause you're welcome here. Look around and you will see friendly faces smiling free, spirits, love, and family. Make yourself at home. Make yourself at home. Raise your voice in a joyful noise, 'cause you're welcome here. Raise your voice in a joyful noise, 'cause you're welcome here. This bright morning filled with song, raise your voice and sing along. Uplift for the whole day long. Make yourself at home. Feel the love with open hands, 'cause you're welcome here. Feel the love with open hands, 'cause you're welcome here. Welcome, welcome, and the love pours in. Today will never happen again. Leave only the happiness you bring. Make yourself at home. First, come on in and sit right down, 'cause you're welcome here. Sounding good. Come on in and sit right down, 'cause you're welcome here. Well, look around and you will see friendly faces smiling free, spirits, love, and family. Make yourself at home. Make yourself at home.
Thank you so much, Jay and Leora. Now, today's daily word is zeal. Divine zeal is my impulse to accomplish great things. Toward the end of his long life, Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore famously wrote, "I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me." This story, he was 94 when he wrote that. This story shows me that as a divine gift, zeal is always mine to call upon, no matter my age or the state of my life. It is the impulse that makes me eager to rise in the morning and gives me energy to get started on the day's tasks. It drives me to give the best of myself to those people and things I care about the most. Zeal is quickening, enlivening energy that helps me feel the presence of God within and bring that presence to life in a way that only I can. I sizzle with zeal. With passion and enthusiasm, I live, love, and serve. So today's message is about imagination, our sacred inner power to shape reality through vision, creativity, and faith. Before we dive in, let's align our minds and hearts by grounding in 5 affirmations that awaken and amplify this divine faculty within us. So all together now, I am a powerful co-creator, and my imagination brings my vision to life. I imagine with faith, knowing spirit makes all things possible. The images I hold in mind create my experience of the world. I am the artist of my life, and spirit is my guide. My sacred visions are the first steps of miracles in motion. So today, it's my pleasure to welcome back Reverend Patricia Zogar. Patricia's ministry began in 2001. She has taught at spiritual centers in Victoria, Winnipeg, Kamloops, and most recently at Unity of Vancouver Island, where she served as senior minister before handing the torch over to Reverend Thomas DeShooter. Let's give a warm welcome back Reverend Patricia Zogar.
Thank you for being here, and let's give thanks for this glorious day. And I want to report that this week I read a book on manifestation, and that author's process is, so let's go into meditation on that grounding.
A heart that never fears, can you imagine that? And the only tears we weep are tears of joy. Every hunger satisfied, and every baby's cry would be heard. A soul that never grieves, can you imagine that? And a father never leaves his child alone. The darkness has no power, no desperate lonely hours to make it through until the morning light, and we would see the hope in each sunrise. In this perfect world, there is always a second chance allowed. In this perfect world, there is enough love to go around somehow. And peace is the sweetest sound on earth. In in this perfect world. A faith with wings to fly. Can you imagine that? And the will to try is never far away. Every man would know his call, and something in us all would long to see a wounded spirit healed, and live to see our brothers' dreams fulfilled. In this perfect world, there is always a second chance allowed. In this perfect world, there is enough love to go around somehow. And peace is the sweetest sound on earth. In this perfect world, truth would never be in question, and life would last forever, and God will bind our hearts together. Now wouldn't that be heaven? Be heaven. In this perfect world, there is always a second chance allowed. In this perfect world, there is enough love to go around somehow. And peace is the sweetest sound on earth. In this perfect world.
Wow, what a powerful song, and how powerfully delivered. Thank you so much. So, imagination, the beginning of creation. Have you ever been told, oh, it's just your imagination? You're just imagining it. It's all in your head, right? Well, even if that's so, what it does for me is it begs the question, just what is imagination? So now we have our answer. Imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire, you will what you imagine, and at last you create what you will. Imagination is one of Unity's 12 powers. We have one for every month, and imagination is the month of June. And today we'll be talking about imagination along with the imagination of will, as was mentioned in that quote, which I'll give you again in a minute. It's from George Bernard Shaw. And again, he said, imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire, you will what you imagine, and at last you create what you will. And he has the snake say that to Eve in the Garden of Eden in his play Methuselah. So again, imagination is the beginning of creation. He tells this to Eve, and Eve says, but how shall I create out of nothing? And he says, everything must have been created out of nothing. This is what we know, isn't it? Everything created out of nothing. He says, look at that thick roll of hard flesh on your strong arm. That was not always there. You could not climb a tree when I first met you, but you willed and tried and willed and tried, and your will created out of nothing that roll on your arm until you had your desire and could draw yourself up with one hand and seat yourself on the bough that was above your head. Isn't that quite a picture? Everything has been created out of nothing. And Unity calls this process the law of mind action, right? An idea, nothing, no thing. An idea is planted in mind, no thing. And we have manifestation, creation, something physical appears. So George Bernard Shaw is my all-time favorite playwright. I have read every one of his plays, which number 6 large volumes, twice, including all the preludes, which are sometimes longer than the plays themselves, in which he he rambles on about sometimes social customs, morals, politics, religion, all sorts of things. He was thoroughly ahead of his time, I'd say at least a century ahead of his time. He was very much a socialist, though I doubt that he would have used that word. He didn't identify himself that way, but he was a very, very vocal and proselytizing vegetarian and all sorts of things that we would now call woke, right? And a very, very deep thinker. I have a fridge magnet that was given to me years ago by a friend when I first started into ministry, and it says, life isn't about finding yourself, life is about creating yourself. You've probably heard that one. And it's attributed to Anonymous on my fridge magnet. But when I was looking at George Bernard Shaw quotes on the line, I found several places where they said George Bernard Shaw wrote that. I kind of doubt it because it doesn't sound quite like Shaw to me. I've read a lot of them. And it just occurs to me that finding ourselves isn't something they did in the early 19th century. It was in very 1980s, remember when we first started talking about finding ourselves? Anyway, it's good. I think he would have agreed. But I found many quotes that do sound like George Bernard Shaw, and I'd like to share them with you because I imagine if he were alive today, what a fabulous speaker he would be at Unity. He would deliver one heck of a talk. So, just got a few quotes to share with you. The first one, this doesn't really have that big a Unity message. It's in there someplace, but you have to think about it. But he said, we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. Yes? He's like, uh-oh, ding-dong, bingo. Now he sounds really like Unity. Progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Right? Change your thinking, change your mind. That's the slogan of Centers for Spiritual Living. It's our sister teaching. We constantly talk about examining our beliefs and thoughts and letting go of the ones that don't fit anymore and bringing in positive thoughts. Constantly changing our minds, right? I love this one. Gets a little bit political without being political. He says, democracy is the device that ensures we shall be governed no better than we deserve. We see that alive in the world right now, don't we? It's a mega lesson on taking responsibility for ourselves, right? That's, to me, the most important part of Unity is that idea that we are creating, we have choice, we are responsible for our own experience of life. That's the empowering thought that set me free. Life is not just happening to us. We are creating it. Carrying on with the slightly political theme, he says, a government that robs Peter to pay Paul can always depend upon the support of Paul. Ain't that the truth, huh? Ain't that the truth? Think about how, when we see that happening throughout the world right now in every kind of society, whether it's democracy or autocracy or dictatorship. We're seeing that. Paul is always willing there to go along with what. So when we vote, do we vote thinking about what is best for me and my family? What would I like to see? Or do we consider what should I vote for the greater whole, right? So the government that robs Peter to pay Paul can always depend upon the support of Paul. Let's not be Paul in this case, okay? Because sometimes we feel like we're Peter, right? That we're being robbed to pay for Paul. You see things as they are and say, why? I dream things that never were and say, why not? That's also from Methuselah. That's the snake encouraging Eve to imagine, to will, and to create. Isn't that, Charles Fillmore started us all looking differently at what the Bible says, finding a deeper meaning. So rather than polluting Eve, I suppose was weird, he encouraged her, he empowered her to imagine, to will, to have faith, and to create. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, make them. Again, life is not just happening. Each of us can and need to take responsibility for our own happiness, for our own experience. I mean, what we see out there isn't always perfect in the world, but we're responsible for how we choose to react to it. And the greatest example I can think of that was Viktor Frankl. You've probably heard of him, a German psychologist and author who was interned in Auschwitz for many years. And while he was there, he did not succumb. He did not give up. He was the one who was always serving the other inmates who were suffering. And he said, the only thing they cannot take from me is my power to choose how I will react. And we never lose that power, no matter what's happening. We choose how we respond to it. Respond is a better word than react, because react is sort of automatic. Response is a conscious. We have no more right to consume happiness without producing it than we have to consume wealth without producing it. What a thought. We go around looking for somebody else or something else to make us happy, right? All those sappy love songs, you made me so very happy. No, nobody makes you happy except yourself. Certain things happen and you get sad or you get happy. But it's not the things that are doing that. It's your inner response to those things. The liar's punishment is not in the least that he is not believed, but that he cannot believe anyone else. Think about that. What goes around comes around, right? Do unto others. Now we know that if we're always telling the truth, which I know we all are, that most of the time everybody else is also telling us the truth. But if we were going around constantly living lies and telling lies, we'd expect people to do the same, right? It's like I find telling the truth is really a good idea, because then you don't have to worry about what you said before, right? Anybody ever have to live with a secret they had to work around all the time? Because if we're consistent liars, we're going to find consistently lies coming back to us, because our experience is a mirror of belief. It's another great teaching you get involved when you get on the personal growth path. Everything we see out there is a mirror of what we believe and fear and think. Everything is manifesting out there. Shaw says, all great truths begin as blasphemies. Think about Charles Fillmore and his interpretation of the Bible passages. and teaching us to read Bible, if we want to read Bible, with the intention of finding a deeper, higher message. What was really being said here? You know, sometimes Jesus and other great prophets kind of hid their messages in parables because, you know, they were avoiding punishment from the powers that be. They were heretics of their time. So all great truths begin as blasphemies. And we know a great truth, don't we? If we've been listening at Unity at all, we know a great truth. And we want to share it. And sometimes if we share what's going on here, some of our friends might think it's blasphemous. It takes courage to share a great truth. It's a little risky, especially if it doesn't always align with somebody else's great belief, great prejudice. They might label us heretics. And you know what's been said and done to heretics in the past, don't you? Sometimes it takes great courage to share a great truth. What might sound like a blasphemy to somebody else who has rigid belief is freeing for us, enlightened for us. And so I encourage you to take a risk to share it sometimes. Shaw says, few people think more than 2 or 3 times a year. I have made an international reputation for myself by thinking once or twice a week. And I know that what he's referring to here is his conscious thinking. He's selecting his thoughts, not just getting attached to every thought that crosses through our mind, get hooked on it. And that's an analogy we use in meditation. Don't get hooked on the thought. Just allow them to flow past like a river. So if the thoughts are there, don't get hooked on them. So conscious thinking is what we do on purpose, right? We think rightly. I have made an international reputation for myself by thinking once or twice a week. That's probably a frequent amount of conscious thinking that we do. So to me, mindfulness is a word that's being used a lot lately. That's a better word for that, conscious thinking. Mindfulness to me is like an aware meditation. You know, as I'm going about my life, I try to be mindful. Old men are dangerous. So are old women, I guess, because it doesn't matter to them what is going to happen to the world. Do we see that happening in politics now? We know we're doing a lot of damage and destruction, and it benefits me, so I'm going to keep doing it. Party hardy till it's over, to hell with everybody else. We see that. A reflection on this prevailing belief in our world that we're separate from each other, not interconnected at all, and not responsible to anyone else. I'm looking after myself. We don't do that. And it's, you know, a lot of young men do that too. But it is interesting. As you get old, and I'm old, I realize that, again, that's nothing I can do about it. So, what the heck? Let's use a plastic bag twice. You know, just a gentle I am of the opinion, he says, that my life belongs to the whole community. And as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. Is that an enlightened individual or not? Yeah, just carrying on with that. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle for me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I have got hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. Isn't that lovely? Now, he was a very old man. He was 94, same age as Charles Fillmore when he died. So that those two old men were not dangerous, right? It's his state of mind. And this is my all-time favorite Shaw quote. This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one, the being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. You know somebody like that, don't you? And then I've got one more quote in here. It's not particularly profound, but maybe it is. I learned long ago not to wrestle with a pig. You get dirty, and besides, the pig likes it. So I'm not sure what the message is. I'm thinking on that one, but I'm sure there is one there. It's not waste our energy on the unimportant. So that was George Bernard Shaw. And you know the hypothetical question, if you could have dinner with anyone in the world, living or dead, who would it be? That's my dinner date. So what else about imagination being the beginning of creation? Are you a creative person? I think most of us here would call ourselves creative. We can be sure we're creative. We have used our imagination. If you've ever written a song, knitted a sweater, built a birdhouse, baked a cake, we have to imagine that first. We have to visualize it in our mind, right? Everything begins with a thought in mind. We visualize it, we imagine it, we will it. Okay, how do I make this cake come true? And then we create it. So visualization, if you use that process called creative visualization or the law of attraction, you attract what you want to your life. You do that with your imagination. If you've ever prayed for something, you've pictured it in your own mind before you ask for it, right? You have to see it and imagine it before you can even know it's possible and state your prayer for it. You couldn't desire it if you couldn't imagine it. And the answer to the prayer, I think, is always in the prayer itself. Because the minute you ask for and imagine that healing or that manifestation of abundance or whatever it is, the minute you ask for it, you've pictured it in mind and you've started the creative process in motion. So the answer to the prayer is within the prayer itself. Now, it needs your will, your faith, your perseverance, the continuation of your imagine to keep seeing it until it manifests, right? So again, it's the analogy of planting a seed in the ground. You plant the flower seed, and when it come back, days you come back and you take a look at the plot and you put some water there and you keep watching it. And if a week or two, a little sprout comes through the ground and you keep seeing the flower. And then the stem, and then the leaves, and eventually the flower. But you've willed it. You've continued your commitment to that visualization. The flower knows its perfect time. It knows how long it takes it to grow. It knows how to do that. And your manifestation does too. Faith, Charles Fillmore said, faith is the substance of things unseen. There is a universal spiritual stuff that permeates our whole physical world. It is potential, and it is infinite potential. And it's constantly being shaped by our thought, and it becomes our reality. So if you're making cookies, let's say, you start with a lump of cookie dough, potential cookie, right? And say you want a gingerbread man cookie. You got to go get the cookie cutter. You roll your dough, your potential cookie out, and you cut it out, and you put it in the oven to bake. At some time during that baking process, this transformation occurs, and at some point, we don't know what point really, but at some point that cookie dough becomes cookie, right? You don't know when that happens. Might be after 12 minutes in the oven, it might be after 13. So we keep watching it until we're sure it's cookie, and then we take it out of the oven. It's the same with your imagination. We keep knowing at some point what I imagine is going to be real, and we keep watching for the signs of it, and knowing it knows its perfect time, and at some point it manifests. So our faith, our will, is our oven. You're baking what you want to manifest all the time by holding it in mind, just at the right temperature. So once a cookie dough becomes cookie, so in that same way, the substance of things unseen, which is what Fillmore called faith, at some point the substance of things unseen becomes the thing seen. And we don't know when that process is going to happen, but we keep it in the oven till it does, right? So think of your thoughts and belief and your imagination as cookie cutters and experience shapers. There's a lovely man in our congregation at Unity Vancouver Island who often does sound for us. And one Sunday morning before service, we had a glitch. They happen a lot, and we panicked. But Brian just put his head down and went to work and fixed it. And I said, "It's magic." And Brian said the most profound thing. He says, "It's all magic. You just have to learn to use the wand." Isn't that good? You can borrow it. Imagination, the beginning of creation, it's our magic wand. So I just want to leave you with a few quotes from other people that I found while I was researching Shaw quotes about imagination and creation that you might enjoy. John Lennon said, "Reality leaves a lot to the imagination." G.K. Chesterton, "There are no rules of architecture for a castle in the clouds." Edgar Allan Poe said, "They who dream by day are cognizant of many things which escape those who dream only by night." When my son was in grade 2, the teacher sent home a report card saying, "Stephen tends to daydream a lot." I wanted to say, good, what? A rock pile ceases to be a rock pile the moment a single man contemplates it, bearing within him the image of a cathedral. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I don't know if that... New ideas pass through 3 methods. 1, it can't be done. 2, it probably can be done, but it's not worth doing. And 3, I knew it was a good idea all along. That's from Arthur C. Clarke, the science fiction writer. A man, to be greatly good, must imagine intensely and comprehensively. He must put himself in the place of another and of many others. The pains and pleasures of his species must become his own. And when you read a good novel or hear a well-written song, you know that person has walked the mile in the other man's moccasin, so to speak, has felt what the other has felt. And we all need to do that because we're all, living this life together. And we can only understand and have compassion if we've felt the other man's joy and suffering and all that. And finally, from Ursula Le Guin, she says, "I doubt that imagination can be suppressed. If you truly eradicated it in a child, he would grow up to be an eggplant." I got the awesome power of imagination. Imagination's the beginning of creation. I imagine achieving all I want to do, and all I want for me, I also want for you. I use wisdom and faith to make it all come true. I can see it and believe it. I'll achieve it. You can too. Namaste.
Okay, I love that rap there. We needed that up on the screen so we could rap with you. Reverend Patricia, did you write that rap? You did? Would you like to learn that rap? Will you send it to us? Yes, and then one of these Sundays we'll rap it. It's awesome. I think it's wonderful.
All right.
There's a new church on the horizon, made of light, not of stone, calling out to all creation, you are not alone. Lions and lambs, saints and sinners, best of friends, enemies, woman and man, losers and winners, they're all in you and me. We are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way through the dark. One dream, we dream together. We are all a part of one heart. Out in the cold, there are faces hidden by the wind and the rain. Hold out your hand, someone will take it and bring you home again. We are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way through the dark. One dream we share together. We are all a part of one heart. Around the world today, all fires are burning, tears are falling from the sky, and still the world keeps turning. We are one heart, one soul, one dream we share together. We are all a part. We are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way through the dark. One dream we share together. We are all a part. We are all a part. We are all a part of one heart.
Thank you so much, Leora and Jay. We are so blessed to have you. Thank you. And thank you, Reverend Patricia, for a very wonderful, inspiring talk. Thank you. So, coming up at Unity, there are some amazing events coming to connect and grow with us all together. On June the 5th, which is this coming Thursday, we have you Explore Your Inner Being, and it's an experiential program for self-discovery of body, mind, and spirit. And it's our intention to share in a spiritually focused community where we can connect to our evolutionary consciousness in a safe and supportive group environment. And this week, there will be laughter yoga. Laughter yoga is a series of simple movements, playful games, and breathing exercises designed to stimulate laughter and cultivate an inner spirit of joy. We'll be sitting or standing. No yoga experience is necessary. Come and have lots of fun and improve your mood and increase your energy and mental clarity. So this Thursday, June the 5th, from 7 to 9 at the lower level. Everyone is welcome, and it is by donation. We look forward to seeing you there. And we will also be welcoming back Reverend Thomas DeShooter for another invigorating sound bath on Friday, June 6th at 7:30 in the lower level. This will be a deeply rejuvenating sound bath and meditation experience. Immerse yourself in the healing vibrations of crystal singing bowls, gongs, and chimes as they guide you into a deep relaxation and inner stillness. This is an opportunity to release tension, calm the nervous system, and connect with your true self. Get your tickets at unityofvancouver.org. We'll also be welcoming Thomas back with his Powers of Prosperity workshop. In this session, we'll continue the discovery of the 4 powers of prosperity. This workshop will dive into the spiritual principles that align us with our natural state of abundance. And together we'll focus on and explore the powers of creativity that support our prosperity: imagination, power, love, and zeal. It is not a different goal. It is an intrinsic flow available in every areas of our lives. These powers shape how we think, speak, love, and show up fully alive in our abundant life journey. So join us on June 29th at 1:15 to embrace the boundless potential that awaits. Bring your own notebook and for note-taking, water, and any snacks that you wish to bring. And our Course in Miracles study group is live here in the center every Tuesday from 12:30 to 2:30 in the lower level. Check out our mastermind group. Join us and enjoy the unconditional support of dedicated prayer partners using the easy-to-learn mastermind framework that have brought about amazing results for thousands of people at Unity churches around the world. Meetings are downstairs in the meditation room every Sunday from 10 to 10:30 on the lower level. And speaking of an uplifting experience, next Sunday we'll be surrounded by light and guided by love from Reverend Rona Segura. And please enjoy coffee, tea, cookies, and conversation downstairs after the service. And now, as we bring our gathering to a close, please stand and let us together say our prayer for protection, followed by the peace song. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And I just forgot something. We have prayer chaplains who would be very happy to pray with you after the service. I don't know where that went on my script, and I apologize. We have 3 wonderful prayer chaplains. We have Raymond Lancaster, Melba Burns, Jeannie Bell Irving, and Marilyn Norrie on Zoom. And if you wish a prayer with a prayer chaplain, please come up here after the service, and they'll be very happy to support you in prayer. And now, our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with
forward to seeing you next week. And if you're on Zoom and want to pray confidentially with the prayer chaplain in a private room, please accept your breakout invitation, which will pop up on your screen shortly. Thank you so much for joining us. See you all next week, and God bless.